30,000 users that actually use their software every single day. Partners that will get access to be able to actually see and learn and be introduced to you. And I guess we can talk about that as time goes by, like why we're actually doing this and what we're actually looking to get.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds great.
This is the first time that we've actually done this particular type of show.
Hey Adam, welcome to the show, and this is me, Ankita, this is John, and we are the hosts for today. So I know a little bit about you, like about your background, like you are the founder of Smooth Operations and also businesses like Musical You scale their business to where they are now doing like over $1 million in their revenue. So we wanted to kind of like dive into that, like, okay, your journey, your story, and what was your role in helping that, like in generating that sort of revenue, and then what do you actually do in your life, in your business. So just wanted to hear a little bit about you and your story, and then we can, continue on that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here. I always enjoy these opportunities to meet new people, share, and talk about my experiences. So my journey began in the most unlikely of places, on a rock and roll stage. I'm a musician by trade, classically trained on trumpet and guitar, and really cut my teeth in my early days playing music for a living. And like all good musicians that get a classical education, I did the next logical thing. I joined the United States Army because that seemed like the next logical thing to do. I ended up spending 12 years active duty, the good majority of that time in special operations. So I've deployed all over the world. And what I really developed during that time was my leadership skills developed. I developed a whole lot of inner strength, as you can imagine, during that part of the journey. And then the most amazing thing happened. I was on a parachute jump, and I hit the ground wrong, and I broke my ankle in 3 places. And while I was recovering from surgery, I discovered this wonderful guy named Russell Brunson, because I can only watch movies for so long. And then I got bored and discovered Russell, discovered ClickFunnels, discovered this whole new world, the world of digital marketing. It inspired me to go, what is this? So start working on Upwork. And lo and behold, as I was getting ready to leave the military, I met this British man named Christopher, who is running this company called Musical You. And he not only brought me in as a part-timer at first, but eventually as his first full-time operations manager. So I was the fourth person on that team. And I was with that team for a total of 5 years. And we went through the normal.
Had you experienced that, would that have bothered you mentally? Like, would you have mentally like broken down because you heard people using curse words, and then, also maybe even just using those curse words directed at you? Like, would you have been upset about that if someone would have said those things to you?
No, I mean, at that point, I'd been in the Army a couple of years, and you kind of expected it. Honestly, it was way creepier to have a guy staring at me with a clipboard and just evaluating me, but not saying a word. That was creepier, because you had nothing to build off of. You had nothing like to use as kind of your inner motivation other than whatever you brought to the playing field. That's all you had.
Do you like see anybody like up close, like shot, killed, dead, blown up,
like somebody died in front of you, in front of your eyes, or like, did you face that sort of incident in your life when you were in that?
In front of me, no. Like, I was never in a stack and had a guy go down in front of me. But like, to be on the other end of that bullet or the other end of that bomb, that did happen. So that was part of the experience.
So the reason I'm asking you this is because it seems to me like, okay, I've had so many experiences in my life, and because of those specific experiences, probably like you have had, it seems, being in the Army and seeing different combat scenarios, that like some things are just not like a big fucking deal. Like whenever you look at some problems and you think you see that problem, it's just like, okay, hey, but when you look a lot in the entrepreneur space and the business owner space, it's like a lot of people, especially like when they're just getting in, it's like they really make mountains out of molehills, it's like they really like, everything's such a bother to them. It's like, oh my God, you said pussy, or you said bitch, or it's like, okay, oh, hey, this happened. It's like, okay, now my brain's all messed up. So I was just curious, like, getting to that side of you is like, okay, hey, could you speak to any of that? Like
Did
this
that
type of
happen?
mindset and how it may be limiting and how you may not have actually ever had those problems in your actual business.
Like, you got to have just a huge inner strength. You got to know who you are. You got to know why you're doing what you're doing, believe in what you're doing. And I had an interesting exercise that I would use, because even though I came from that background, the first time I got a piece of like hate mail on a Facebook ad, or in my, like, from a email content that we sent out, you get that first hate mail and you're like, oh man, what am I doing wrong? Right. So what I would do is actually I create anti-personas, because like that, you're going to get hate. You're going to get negative comments. I'm now of the opinion where if I'm not getting a pissed off email when I'm marketing, then I'm not marketing hard enough. Right.
Right.
So I get worried if I'm not being told to fuck off after a while, you know? So, but you have to remember, like, you're going after your persona, your ideal client, but out there, no matter how detailed your targeting is, no matter how good your lead magnet is at excluding the people that aren't your people, you're going to get those people into your ecosystem. They're going to be there, and they're just not your people, and that's okay. So just discard them, let them go, and carry on. Like, you got a mission. So it's primarily like what keeps you going in the military. It's because we're mission oriented. Like, we have the outcome that we're going for, and whatever's in our way, fuck it, we're going to go for it, and just push everything to the side. So keep focus on the end state and go win.
That makes a lot of sense, really. You saying that being mission oriented, goal oriented is like, that's the only way that you could really, like, if you did see somebody die, or you were like walking through an infirmary, seeing a guy with no leg or something, because they you got a bomb, like, you really kind of have to have that mindset. Like, okay, hey, how do I justify this? Why is this okay? How am I going to actually move forward with this? It's because of this mission. It's because of this goal. It's because of this core belief that I'm having. So that makes a lot of sense.
What happened after that? Like, okay, you were in the army, and then you found your passion in music.
Found Russell Brunson, found Upwork, and then you met your partner. That's kind of where I wanted to stop. You kind of met your music guy.
So I've been doing that for about a year, and we were kind of doing that like slow, that like 2% growth thing that companies go through, where wasn't quite taking off, but we weren't going bankrupt. And then COVID happened. And I remember that month like yesterday, because what happened to cost per click, like, it went through the floor, right? And we saw our cost per click go down by like 25%, or down to like 75%. It was crazy. So we suddenly had the ability to really scale up our ads really quickly, get that side of our business growing, and it just exploded. And we saw suddenly we were doing 2x, 3x what we were doing, and starting to actually build the team around us, and went quickly from like $350,000 a year total revenue to 1.2 million by the end of that year. But by the end of that year, I felt like I'd been carrying the whole business on my back. We were adding team members, but I didn't really have a formal way of introducing them to the team, like organizing their work. Instead, I was doing everything through transactional management and just like spreadsheets of what they're supposed to be doing. And it almost crushed me. It just felt like so heavy to run that business. And that's when I really got serious about creating an operating system, creating workflows and processes that would let my team run on autopilot, give them the support and the structure they needed, and let me go out and rock my part of the business to keep that side growing and keep that side humming, while we're able to fulfill the mass amount of new customers that we're getting on a daily and weekly basis. And it just kept taking off. It kept growing, where we went from 350K a year, 4 team members, to 8 team members and about that many contractors, and closing in on 5 million a year now. And that all happened in the space of 2 years.
COVID happened, right? And we all know that how businesses was like getting affected. So when COVID did happen, and you said that you guys were doing kind of like 350K like a year, from there to you have been like, you went to 1.2 million and over that, right? So over $1 million in revenue. So what did you implement at that? Like, what was not working? And then what did you guys actually do to have that sort of revenue like coming onto your, like, into your business? What changed?
I remember there were 2 types of people at that time period. There were the, let's just sit down and wait this out and don't poke our head out because it's only going to be a couple weeks long, right? Yeah, it's funny now. We were the opposite. The world was shutting down on Sunday, and we met for approximately 8 hours on Zoom, figuring out our game plan. Because I was in the United States, Christopher was in London, and we did the most marathon workday of my life on Monday. We implemented 5 or 6 different test strategies just to see what would take off. And our philosophy at that moment was, how well can we serve our community? What are the different things that we can do for our community? How can we be of service to those that might be on hard times? It was kind of the whole gamut. It's like, let's throw the whole kitchen sink at this problem set. We're going to fail quickly. We're going to learn what's working quickly. And then we're going to keep on doing more of what's working. So it's kind of we either do this or we're going to fail, and we're not going to be able to afford to payroll by next month. We knew we were going to lose monthly customers. We knew like some of that revenue was going to go away. So we knew we had to replace it. Throw everything and the kitchen sink at it. That kept the lights on. But what really led to the growth was us finally cracking the nut on our front end funnel and getting the paid ads running, and just being able to scale those from $100 a day to $300 to $500 to $1,000 a day in ad spend.
Was there a moment where you really wanted to give up, like you didn't want to do it anymore, and you just like, no, it's not working, I can't do this, or like you wanted to give up? And how did you come out of that? The
moment was, that's when I knew what was going on, I kind of started to see the bigger picture of what was happening. There was about a 12-hour moment right at the front end. Mm-hmm. So like on the weekend before Monday, when the world shut down, I had a moment on Saturday where I just got a bottle of something and I'm just going to get drunk tonight and it's over. I'm going to have, But by morning that was gone. Instead, it was all about the outcome. It was all about the people around me. If I needed strength, I just got on that Zoom call with my team, and there was my strength right there. So they gave me a lot of willpower, but more than anything, I got a wife and 4 amazing kids that are looking at me to be their hero, to be the dad, to bring home the bacon, so to speak. So if I'm ever low on motivation, I just go to the house and get some from my sons and daughters, and that's more than enough for me to keep rolling.
Well, some people really struggle with that in business. Yeah. All right, so you have this training, you've had these experiences that a lot of people, let's face it, a lot of people, they just don't fucking have them. But whenever it came to business, you didn't have a blueprint. You didn't know, okay, hey, this is going to actually work. I'm going to do this, and this. These are the actual. You had the confidence in yourself to know, okay, hey, I can figure this out. Worst case scenario, I don't fucking figure it out, and then I have to spend more time figuring it out. Is that kind of a summary?
It's a pretty good summary. I would say, ironically, like when I first came down this road, I'll be completely honest, when I first started doing this, I would have rather faced incoming fire. That was less scary to me than having to jump on a show like this and share my experiences and have to be authentic and open and vulnerable to someone else. So it required me to shift my mindset, to shift my strength, to be able to find that different part of me, that different part of my identity. I'll say this, I've had some amazing coaches along the way. I've had some amazing mentors, and really it's been my network and talking to people in the same experiences and realizing insecurities you have, whatever vulnerabilities you have, I'm telling you, everyone either already has them or they fought through them. And so there's someone that's already been in that boat before, and someone that can maybe say that one thing that's going to pull you through and get you to advance and to run into enemy fire, so to speak.
None of the business owners or entrepreneurs actually have any blueprint to how to run business. It's all of us are kind of like we just, like something comes in our mind and either we take the step to do it. You just said, right, that I would rather jump on a fire than, just coming out of like showing my vulnerable side or, facing with my insecurities. So I think most of most of the entrepreneurs face this situation in their life at some point of time. They think that this is going to work, but then they don't want to implement it because they get scared or because they think like, okay, if I do this and if I fail, then that's what's going to happen, right? And then they just shut off and then they just don't do it anymore. So yeah, the doers are gonna obviously do it. Like you actually something came in your mind and you just like, okay, let's go, let's implement this and then see what happens. And I think most of the entrepreneurs also kind of like go with that flow only.
The reason I find that fascinating is because like I see so many people in the entrepreneur space. One, they spend a lot of time really actually looking for a blueprint, looking for a shortcut, looking for some huge, massive risk mitigation of something. Okay, well, it has to work. I need something that I know is going to work because I can't risk actually failing. So they have this huge mindset where they're looking for a fucking leprechaun riding around on a unicorn, and that's what they spend their time actually doing. And then at the same time, they have this other fear that to me has always kind of seemed very irrational, like this very irrational fear of like, okay, well, what if I fail? Considering that most people and most entrepreneurs and people entering the space, they don't have this experience of, you know, being in the military and experiencing combat. You think there's any type of value or advice you could give them to actually help them fix that fear? Because most of them have that same actual fear.
Yeah. There's two things. So everyone's looking for that blueprint you talked about. Everyone's looking for that plan that's going to work, and they think something's broken and they panic over it. I had a great business coach who told me, and these are words I live by. He said, Adam, your business is broken. It is broken. And if everything goes right, it always will be. All of our businesses are broken in certain areas. And the only business that's not broken is the business that's out of business. So that definitely gave me a different perspective. So now what do? I search for broken things and I get super excited because I get to fix them. So it's like, hell yeah, now I get to go. I get to do my job. As far as the fear of exposing ourselves and like, you know, that's what it is. And the best advice I have to steal it from Russell. You know, read Expert Secrets. And what does Russell talk about? He talks about going and doing his podcast every day for like 45 days straight. And Stephen Larson's finally like, yeah, you finally start to sound good about episode 47. It's like the first 46 were crap. It's going to take you time to find your voice. It's going to take you time to do it. Take the time to actually put yourself out there, record it, and have the courage to listen back to it. Be continuously improving. That's a big skill I learned from being a musician.
I think that I can relate to that because at some point of time, like we started this business and John was, going live and doing this on Facebook. I started going live and on the first live, and I actually come from a very small town, right? And I never used my social media for any of this business or marketing or any of it, right? And that was completely a new concept to me. I see that he is doing he's just killing it. He's going live every day. He's doing it. And I'm like, okay, let me also I want to do it, but then I was literally scared of people. But when I started at that point of time, like it was 5 years back, I was like literally on my first live, I was literally stumbling, stammering, and I just didn't know what to say. Like I was so scared. I was literally sweating, had no confidence to talk and speak because the fear of, judgment, fear of the people, like, okay, how they will see me, how they will talk to me, what they will talk about me, right? So those were all like there in my mind. So, but obviously just by, I didn't stop. I kept doing it, and I'm still doing it, right? So I'm still in that practice mode, and I'm still doing it. So I'm getting just by doing it, I'm I know that I'm getting better at it. So that was completely relatable to my story.
And it's like another aspect of stage fright, right? And that's what it is, really. If we bring this back to my music background, it is stage fright. That's what we're facing, even if it's a digital platform.
You guys mostly run ads? That's your main source of traffic is paid media?
That was part of the source of traffic. We were really good at SEO. For our main keywords, we were always in the top 3 to 5 of Google and always had a really healthy email marketing backend. I mean, when you're running paid ads to a $49 offer, which is what we got the 2 Comma Club on, you got to have a good back end. So you have to be reselling. You have to be doing that continuity.
Was that your entire offer, just $49? Or is there more inside this offer than that?
There were upsells and cross sells and downsells and order bumps. I mean, it was a fully developed stack, but that course itself was only one part of our ecosystem. We had another 7 courses and a membership on the back end, and eventually a high ticket one-to-one coaching offer on the back end. So it was all about bringing people into our ecosystem, and then we could resell to them. We could get them into other courses of ours. And that's where we really made our actual profit, because we were largely breaking even on the front end. But what are you buying at that point? You're buying leads, and you're buying really qualified leads because they've already bought something from you. But if I could sell a tripwire, make no money off of it, but not lose my money off of it, is that better than a lead magnet? I think it is all day and night, because now you have a buyer's list, qualified leads, rather than just, more freebie seekers.
So did you guys do organic at all? Did you do any organic stuff?
We had a consistent, our blog end, like we had like 500 to 1,000 blog posts on the back end that had been written over the years. So we'd recycle those. But as far as new content development on the organic side, there wasn't any. We put all of our energy into growing the company and really just focusing on the growth paths that were right in front of us. Yeah, we had a podcast up until COVID hit, and we stopped like in the middle of that because we had to put all of our energy to what was working and what was really just getting things to turn around much quicker than the organic growth does.
This funnel that you won the 2 Comma Club award for, was this probably the first funnel you built?
No, not even close. Not even close.
Do you remember the first one you built?
I do. Yeah. It was for that course in particular, was the first real funnel we built. We had an order bump. We did do that. We remembered that part. But we didn't have any upsells. We had fulfillment on the back end. The sales page was kind of thrown together and looked crappy, but had good words. Yeah, it was just we were figuring it out. Like, it was our first time really in that ecosphere. And Christopher went to FHL in Nashville. So that was 2019. And now we have a ClickFunnels account. Great, sweet, let's go. But up until then, we were selling our membership was our main offer up until that point where we sold this course, $29.95 a month. And we were selling it through, email straight to a Infusionsoft cart page. So no sales page whatsoever. It's like we let the email do the heavy lifting, then bring them to the cart page in Infusionsoft.
Your first funnel, you're saying that was a monthly membership site, a continuity program, some recurring monthly thing. And then the funnel that you won the 2 Comma Club award was basically for the same offer, but you build a new funnel for it.
It was a revamped offer. So the funnel that won the 2 Comma Club award was a fixed term course. It was a 6-week course. And so I think it was a lot more tangible for the cold traffic to commit themselves for 6 weeks than really what allowed that funnel to scale was a lot of the experimentation did not come on the front end. Well, we did a whole lot of different ads, but the sales page remained largely consistent. The experimentation, all the split tests were largely done on the back end. So what kind of upsells can we offer? What kind of packages can we put together to actually increase our AOV so that we had a little more wiggle room on the front end depending on how the ad performance was doing that day.
Your first funnel didn't do $1 million.
No.
Not even close. No.
A lot of people they launch something, so it's they build something, they may not even know what they actually built, and then that's what they're thinking. They're thinking, okay, hey, I'm done, I've finished, I'm rich now. If you could maybe explain to somebody, what do you think the fastest, the most important things that they should actually be doing to get their first 2 Comma Club award? What should their process be? What should they focus on? I think we both know they want that fucking checklist.
Yeah,
check everything off.
For sure.
And that.
It's like a bucket list you're talking about, okay, check this. Now I'm a millionaire.
Item 1 on that checklist is you have to have a compelling offer. That is what's going to carry you to the end of the day. And if it's not converting, it's not your traffic source, it's not your emails, it's your offer. If it's not converting, be open to fail fast and move things around in your offer, change your framing of it. And a lot of times it's just your lead into the offer. How are you positioning your offer? So the offer can actually be good, but if people aren't pulled into it, then it's not going to convert anyway. So it's about the offer. It's about the argument for it. If you don't know if you have a good offer yet, you have to be willing to put it out there. You have to be willing to get feedback from actual people, not just your friends, not people in a Facebook group you belong to, but actual real consumers, your target avatar. Get an idea of what they think they want or what they're telling you they want. Then you need to do that. You need to do a lot of research and a lot of experimentation. It's hey, we surveyed and you guys said you want this. And it didn't sound like us at all, because our brand tone was very, very British, as you can imagine. And obviously these quotes were not. So when you use your customer's voice, boom, that really helps. The other thing I'd say to everyone out there is, there's traffic that you rent. There's also that traffic you own. You need to figure out how to own your own traffic. You need to convert those TikTok and Instagram followers. That's great. You need those. but you need to figure out how to pull them into your list, because when you hit tough times, when the ads aren't doing as well, when crap, we got to pay payroll or a big tax bill came in this month, you got that email list to fall back on. So make sure you're pulling people onto your list so you can control it and predictably do promotions to keep the lights on and keep yourself moving forward. And then focus on surrounding yourself with like-minded people that you support them. I'm the biggest advocate for teams that I can that I've met personally. I mean, I love my team in a real way. Like, I genuinely care for them. In my role as the director of operations, I was so team focused and making sure I was providing them the care they needed, the support they needed, the resources they needed, so they could be the best at their jobs, because I knew if they were rocking at a high level, that was going to enable me to rock at a high level. I had to focus on them first. And by building a team of superstars.
So what's your secret of building that team culture? Like, you are very heavy on building teams. So like, what's your magic sauce, like building that team culture?
Well, it comes down to just that, culture. That's the first thing. When I interview someone, I assume they're going to be good at the tactical parts of their job. Like, they might not know how to properly format an email yet, or how to do this in our CRM. But guess what? Those are skills I can train anybody on. I can teach anyone how to do what I can do in a CRM or in WordPress. What I can't teach is someone that aligns with me. So I focus on culture first. It's a multi-step interview process. And the first interview is just literally me getting to know them, me sharing our vision for the company, not only our vision for the company, where we're going, but our customers themselves. I believe in having a client-centric mission where you're focusing on your customer, the main thing you're trying to serve, right? We say that, but how much are we really embodying it? So I lead with that first. If I can see they're excited about the change we're making in the world, if I can see they're excited about where we want to take this product and where we want to take music education, then I know everything else I can train them on. The final thing I'll say to that is we have these wonderful tools to do assessments. I'm a big proponent of the DISC assessment. Know your own DISC, know your own personality. And then if you do some research, you're going to find the people that best correspond with you. So for example, I'm a high D. I was getting ready to hire an assistant, and the person I was interviewing was a high I. And my coach said, don't you dare hire that high I. She might be good at her job, but she's going to drive you crazy because your personalities do not match. It's not going to be a good working environment. So I trusted my coach at that time, and I didn't hire her. Instead, she became a member of our community. And guess what? Even as a member, she drove me out of my mind crazy because we just didn't jive. It was like oil and water. But the person I did hire, like, we were almost a perfect match on the DISC profile to work together and to collaborate. So much so that she ended up taking my job about a year later. So she took over the entire day-to-day of the company in about 12 months.
Kind of like boils down to getting them to understand your why, like why you want to do this, right?
It's fun when you find them too. Yeah. When you find that person that just aligns with you, everything else works out. And then when you hire them, take care of them. Hiring is not as simple as saying, great, here's your job, here's your SOPs, I'm going on break. I believe in a firm porting I use a 90-day onboarding process whenever I hire someone, with repeated interactions, daily Zoom calls. If nothing else, just to say, how are you doing today? Is there anything that you need help with? Anything that I can do for you? You're going to gain a whole lot of credibility, a whole lot of buy-in in as little as 5 to 10 minutes a day.
That's really awesome. Like, because I am also kind of like very heavy on building team culture in our company, and I do that sometimes. When you said, like, just talk to them, like, I feel like they are having a bad day. It's just like, just listening to them, just talking to them. And when you are there just to listen to them, that really works for them. Like, hey, somebody was there for me to listen.
It's amazing the number of times I've had a team member tell me, thank you for helping me solve this problem. And I didn't do a thing. I just sat there, pushed mute on Zoom, and I listened to them talk for 10 minutes, and they figured out their own answer. But I didn't do anything but just be an active listener.
And sometimes that's what they need, I believe.
For sure. Yeah. I've seen it more than once. We're all complex creatures, this human existence. And whatever insecurities you're feeling, I guarantee your team's feeling the same thing. So just think of what you need and find a way to get it to your team as well. All part of the joy of being in a people culture.
So we hopefully you can kind of see this right here, and I'm going to turn it back off in a second. But I think this would help a lot of people, especially in our audience, because we have a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, that use our software and that are actually in our audience, and even just all over the world. I think entrepreneurs and business owners in general, there's a category of them that to some extent have kind of figured shit out, or they've at least reached the point to know that they're never going to actually figure shit out other than having an attack plan to try to actually figure stuff out and go on. Other than that, it's like a lot of people, it seems like, okay, they're kind of stuck spinning their wheels, not knowing like, okay, hey, what am I actually supposed to do? How do I actually grow my business? How do I get an actual customer? So I think there's kind of like two little black boxes that people feel are black boxes and they don't actually really understand. And one is kind of like, okay, you kind of mentioned it, where it's like, okay, hey, we have this process of somehow we get people to, we get people's attention and we get them to actually go somewhere. So somehow in the world, there's our audience out there, and somehow we grab their attention and we get them to go somewhere. And then once we get them to actually go somewhere, then we actually have this other black box of, now that they're there, how do I get them to actually buy something from me? How do I get them to actually pay me money and actually become a customer? So do you think it would be possible to kind of let us know in your ecosystem, kind of like, because I think this is a big black box for people try to actually understand, like, okay, hey, go out and get attention, send people to a link, they go to the actual link. Now, once they get into the link, could you kind of give us like, in your ecosystem, what kind of happens? Like, what's kind of like the process now where it's like, they're there now, after that, they've paid you money?
That's a big question for sure. I mean, it goes back to, I'll say this first on the front end, like you're attracting attention. Are you attracting the right kind of attention? Are you attracting attention that's actually in alignment with your offer? For example, we were selling this front end offer was this music course that was all about a very inclusive world of music and that anyone can learn music. It's actually a universal thing that's given to us. But if all of our front end stuff was all about you must be talented and music is for the elite and the special few, it wouldn't align. So your content and the way you're getting attention has to be aligned with your offer. So you're attracting the right kind of people and then just making them an offer that they can't say no to. And you can pay attention to your analytics. You can see what your rates are, what your your conversion rates are on the landing page. If your landing page isn't converting well, fix your landing page. Like, don't be afraid of making adjustments, failing fast, making those radical wild swings just to see if it moves the needle. Because if you're attracting that right attention with messaging that's aligned with your core purpose, your core intent, your core vision, it's just a matter of getting that offer exactly right. I wish there was a shortcut. The best thing I would say is perhaps some of the if you can get in contact with the people that didn't buy, for example, if they're on your email list, if you can track that they clicked through but didn't purchase, have you asked them why they didn't buy? It can be a phone survey, a email survey. Take the time to do that kind of back-end analytics and get that raw information and start to look at the big picture and figure out what you need to do to make sure your offer is a no-brainer for them. So
for you and your ecosystem, are you saying that when you get traffic coming in, they just go directly to an offer? It's like, okay, hey, directly buy something.
Most of our traffic is just that way. The funnel we won the 2 Comma Club off of, that was cold traffic. So we were running it straight to cold, maybe some retargeting. If they had visited the website, we could retarget. But for the most part, it was people that were brand new to us.
And they just go straight to an offer to actually to buy something. You don't have some free offer, some free value that they're getting first and nurturing them. And It's just like, boom, go buy.
Exactly.
So that can work, right?
Yeah, it has to be the right offer. You have to not be afraid to mix it up, not be afraid to change your wording, not be afraid to change the whole darn landing page and the offer itself. But cold offers can work at a right price point. For this case, it was a tripwire offer. It was $49. Regular price was $200. So we were offering a 75% discount. So the perceived value of the course was $200. And honestly, the course is absolutely worth $200. But by being able to offer it at that big of a discount because of all this stuff we had on the back end to increase our AOV, that enabled us to bring in more people and really make that offer just start clicking, where we were converting like 2 to 3% on average on the landing page from cold traffic, 2 to 3% conversion, which is huge. So if you're ever like, gosh, I'm only going to get 2% conversions, you're rocking, guy. You got to get the rest of your stack figured out. If 2% ain't doing it for you, then you got to figure out everything else out around that 2%.
So thank you so much for coming today and like sharing your side of journey, your side of story, and hope we'll be in touch and hope to talk to you soon.
Absolutely. I'm more than happy to come back on anytime. Just schedules are what they are, even though we're all working remotely, and calendar's still a calendar. So sorry to have to jump, but this has been so much fun. You guys asked really good questions, by the way. So awesome. I like the questions. This has been a good interview.